Thank you, Daryl. Oops, go the other way. I want to talk a little bit about the what. And don't worry, we're not going to subject you to just listening to us. We know you're used to doing that and you put up with it very hospitably. But we're going to get better teachers in than us each week, and you'll experience some of that this morning. But I want to talk to you about what we're going to do, and I want to just sort of think a little bit big picture, and even think beyond us right now. Think about ways that seminaries and other training programs train pastors and teachers. If I think about the seminary in our own denomination, they train people and they think about making sure that they have a heart that's in tune with the Lord, making sure that they have a biblical knowledge and sense of where is God going, that they have a vision, and then at the same time also giving them ministry skill, right? And we really saw not only that they do that at the seminary, but they also did that in there was a denominational leadership program. It's still going on. There's a couple folks in this room that have been a part of it, Teresa Wolfert and Dina Zomer from Maranatha, as well as Ken Hasty, who's away this weekend, but from River City. We're part of something called Eastern Canada Leadership Development Network. And they too said, you got to develop a leader focusing on their heart, their biblical vision, and on their ministry skill. And so we're going to be looking at all three of those over our times together. Today, of course, we talked about it, we're going to be looking at the strand of heart. Next time we get together, we're going to be looking at biblical vision, then ministry skill, and then back to heart. And we're going to keep on going through those strands. So I just want to say just a little bit about each one of them and why we're doing them in the order that we are. Because we could get you together and give you all kinds of ministry skill. But if we didn't start at what's basic to the leader, and that is your heart, we wouldn't be helping you lead for the distance, and we wouldn't be helping you lead out of your authentic walk with Christ. We need to lead out of our relationship with Jesus Christ. Even the leading that we do is part of our obedience to God and part of our thankfulness to God for what He's done for us. Bill Hybels says, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team, right? And so if you as a leader want to help others grow in Christ, then you have a responsibility to yourself and to them and to God to make sure that you are leading or growing in Christ. We're going to be using the book, Seeking God's Face. It's one of the books that's on your table, and the author is here with us, and we're looking forward to your presentation in just a minute, Phil. So we'll get into more of that today, but you're also going to see on your tables there's going to be a journal there in the bottom of your pile, and it's an empty journal today, and that's going to be a tool that we hope you'll use to just record part of your ongoing conversation with God. Secondly, what flows out of our heart of deep character is a biblical vision of the mission, right? Devotionally, we acquire God's perspective and heart, and as we do our devotions, we get a greater sense of God's heart for the lost world, for all of us, that He gathered us in. We get a greater sense that He's not done. That He's not done just gathering us in, but He wants us to grow. He wants those who are in our families and our churches to grow, and He wants the effect of our church to be that many other people throughout our city are blessed, right? As leaders, we need to have one foot living then in that city and one foot living in this reality, this biblical vision of what God's trying to build. You might even think of it as two different cities. Some call it being on the balcony and being on the dance floor. Some call it the already and not yet. We're going to be using as a text for that the Tim Keller book that's called Gospel in Life. Tim Keller is a New York Times best-selling author. He wrote the book Reason for God, Prodigal God, and a few others. And we can see that this is just going to be a useful resource for us. We also have coming in February, one of our speakers then will be Jewel Maidenblick, the new president of Calvin Seminary, the seminary that both Darrow and I graduated from. He'll be coming and speaking to us then. So we're very excited about that as well. And then finally, what flows out of our heart, our deep character, is our biblical vision grows. And out of that biblical vision, we have this sense of octness, like we need to go do something and use the gifts that God's given us, cooperate, participate in His mission, and we need ministry skill for that. And so that's something we're taking very seriously as well. It's sort of the practical side. And it's probably the side that some of us will want to gravitate to first, right? We often ask, okay, so what are we supposed to do? And we'll get there, and we'll talk about that, and that'll be a regular rhythm of what we're doing. But what we're going to be talking especially about is leading. as distinct from administering. So it's not just about doing the administry, but it's about leading. And the book we're using for that is called Leadership on the Line. It's written by Ronald Heifetz, who's a Harvard professor. It's actually the same textbook that Redeemer University College uses for their faculty to help them grow as leaders. And we're really excited about using it as well. So those are the 3 strands. And you see the rope there. You know, if you think about any one of those 3 strands, you know, if you have a heart of deep character, that's a strong reality, and it's got many different facets to it. Maybe it's your daily devotional life. Maybe it's you're praying continually through the day. It's multifaceted, and as God grows that in you, becomes strong. And same too with your biblical vision. As you get a growing sense of God's heart for the world, and as you get a picture of what this city could look like if God's Spirit were to renew us and continue to renew the rest of His church here and use us that way. And as you develop your ministry skill, all 3 of those together can make you a strong and effective leader because of the power of Christ that's working in you. And that's part of our dream. That's Ecclesiastes 3 says, a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. And our dream is to help you work on those 3 strands and to be tour guides along and help you to do that. So that's what I'm going to say about the what. And Daryl, you're going to talk a little bit about the how.
So John mentioned the 3 strands. He referenced the 3 books that accompany each of those strands. And there will be a 3-month rotation. So you'll get exposed to each of these areas on a repeated basis. So it won't be just focusing on one area for a whole year or for the majority of a year, but we'll be rotating between these 3 so that we can grow all 3 areas simultaneously. A bit of the how, the cost, we're just asking you to cover the expense of the books, and the $50 for the 3 books and the journal. And if you're coming as a couple, if there are 2 in your household that are here, then it would be $70. So $50 for the books and then $20 for the additional devotional, because we're hoping that each of you would have your own devotional and use it accordingly. Very practical, cash or check to Mary from Maranatha. Mary, can you kind of just stand up or wave or say hi? Mary is the office administrator here, and she'll receive all your money. And I have money for you, so don't run away. Today would be great. If you're from River City and you haven't got that today, if you could get that to me or notify me, then I'll make sure that I can get Mary, because I think the notes that it's all on John's credit card. So
yeah, well, it's Carol's credit card, but I haven't told her that yet. So.
And Carol is here now. Carol's in the back over there. So, all right, and then some of you have offered to pay for others, which is great. That's a way to bless others and to bless this ministry. It's a way for us to also offset some of the cost of the breakfast that we're going to provide every time. So that's great. If you want to do that as well, we're open to receiving that as well. And then a final note that relates to the books is that we've got extra copies of Seeking God's Face, so the devotional. So now, or as you're using it this month, if you find that it's really helpful to you and you think someone else could be blessed by this, then please come and see John or myself, and we can get you extra copies that you can give to them. So we're meeting 2 hours once a month on a Saturday morning, and it's the first Saturday of every month except for January. In January, we'll meet the second Saturday of the month. And we're hoping you'll commit to being here for 8 o'clock. You can see that it took us a little while to get oriented this morning, but if you can arrive for 8, then we commit to having you up by 10 o'clock so you can embrace the rest of your day and spend time with your families. And then for those of you from River City, last year we didn't really have homework per se between our sessions, our leadership sessions, but this year there'll be some homework, and it'll be about an hour to an hour and a half a month. And really it's actually 2 out of 3 months, right? Because you'll be reading from the Gospel in Life or Leadership on the Line. So 2 out of 3 months we'll be addressing those 2 themes. And then in addition to that, we're encouraging you to do the devotions. I believe that's all I have there.
Yeah, that's good.